What has Christ actually achieved for us? Trauma can wear us down, just like it wore Job down. In this lesson, I'm talking about how we can stop the effects of trauma bringing us to the same desperate place that it brought Job, where he wished he'd been stillborn. The official online definition of trauma is challenging emotional consequences of living through a distressing event. Have you ever been through a distressing event? It's got consequences, especially on our emotions, maybe on our finances, etc. It's the distressing circumstances that cause challenging consequences. It's a pretty good definition, I think. But, people classify things as traumatic, which are not really. They're a little bit less than traumas, but they consider them to be traumas, and they suffer accordingly. It all depends on the individual. Christians, of course, are targeted by the devil. All those who are determined to live godly lives will be persecuted and made to suffer. 2 Timothy 3, verse 12. Now, if you hear in a Christian family about where traumas keep on happening, you think, there's an active curse in operation there, and the spirit of death is coming back and back with another attack and another attack, like it did with Job. Now, when these attacks, if these attacks happen to us, it may not happen regularly to you. You may not have an active curse in your family, but when trauma attacks, realize behind it is a spirit of death trying to wear you down. It's very important that you've memorized some scripture. You've memorized them and that you can speak them aloud. Let's have a look at Psalm 34 and verse 19. King David wrote this: "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers us out of every single one of them." David found that. It's the truth. And Peter, the Apostle Peter, wrote this: "Beloved, don't be surprised at the fiery ordeal that is taking place to test you." In other words, to test the quality of your faith. It's not something strange or unusual. It's kind of normal. This is what Peter wrote in 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 12. Now let's look at some of the astounding truths that Jesus made. "I assure you, most solemnly, I tell you, if anyone observes my teaching, lives in accordance with my message, keeps my word, he will by no means ever see or experience death." What a statement. That's in John 8:51. Let's examine that. Are you observing Christ's teachings? Are you living in line with Jesus' message? Are you keeping his word? I mean, we all do this kind of the best of our ability. We're not perfect, but we're trying. If we are trying to do these things, if our heart is in these objectives, we qualify. And therefore, Jesus said, that person will by no means experience death. In other words, the spirit of death is not going to affect him. Now, we should believe that and live strong and long. Psalm 91 verse 16, that death will not touch our bodily organs. That's something to get into your thinking. The spirit of death is behind the deterioration in the population generally of bodily organs. They go wrong and they don't work. It's not going to happen to me because I am in a situation in covenant with Jesus, and he has said that it will no means touch me. Let's have a look at another scripture, 2 Timothy 1:10. This is amazing. Paul says, Christ abolished death. Ah bon? He just abolished it and made it of no effect and brought to life and immortality, immunity from eternal death, to light through the gospel. He abolished death, made it of no effect. Now, Adam lost his immortality. He lost it because he was driven out of the Garden of Eden and kept away from the tree of life. But Jesus, he was the first Adam, but Jesus, as the last Adam, 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 45. He was the one who abolished death and brought life to us and immortality. He brought it back, gave us immortality again. Hebrews 2, in a similar manner, by going through death, Jesus brought to naught and made of no effect death. Made it of no effect. That he may completely set us free from those who have a haunting fear of death all their lives. Are you frightened of death? You should not be, because Jesus has abolished it. All right? And its effect upon your bodily organs. Jesus went through death, and by his victory, by his glorious resurrection, he beat the spirit of death. Some of these statements, he abolished death, he annulled death, he cancelled death, he brought to naught death. This spirit of death has been decimated, made of no effect because of the resurrection. Now, death has no longer any right to attack our physical body or wound our souls, or bring us financial loss, or disrupt our family relationships, because it's been abolished, cancelled, and brought to naught. Go through these scriptures, read them, and let them make an impact on you. Memorize them. And when we are attacked by trauma, where things have gone wrong, or somebody's stolen from us, or somebody has attacked us, it's traumatic and it's whatever it is. When we go through a trauma, few I hope there'll be, but if we go through the storm of a trauma and the devil attacks, we don't just crumble and run to the doctor for a pill or to the bank manager for a loan. We push back by speaking these scriptures out loud and say, this is the truth, devil, and I resist you in Jesus Christ's name. Stay with me, lots more good things to come, and I'll see you next time.